"I lost the company," said the Millionaire CEO, testing his fiancée. Her reaction left him in shock. Ethan Blackwell watched his own engagement party from the top of the penthouse that had cost $12 million. Moat champagne flowed into crystal glasses. Waiters served beluga caviar, and the 300 guests wore outfits that cost more than a mid-range sedan. At 38 years old, he had it all. Blackwell Tech was worth $100 million. His face graced the covers of business magazines like Forbes and Inc., and in 2 months he would marry Sophia Reynolds, the most stunning woman in the room. "Honey, come here." Sophia waved to him, her red dress worth $30,000 shimmering under the lights. Beside her, Brittany, her best friend, was laughing a bit too loudly as usual. "Brittany was just telling me she met a pro football player today. Can you imagine? He only has $2 million in the bank." Sophia rolled her eyes. $2 million. I told her that wouldn't even cover the wedding registry. Ethan forced a smile. 3 years of dating and comments like that still bothered him. But he always justified it. Sophia grew up in a wealthy family. She didn't know any other reality. She was just used to luxury. No big deal. "Ethan, darling," Mrs. Victoria Langford, Sophia's mother, approached with a glass of wine. "We need to talk about the wedding." The caterer suggested cutting from 800 to 600 guests. Said it would feel more intimate. "Can you believe it? I canceled the contract on the spot." "Mom's right," Sophia agreed, running her hand along Ethan's arm. "Our wedding is going to be the event of the year. I've already locked in 3 celebrity magazines. Imagine the buzz." Ethan downed his whiskey in one gulp. Buzz. Always buzz. He wanted to ask, what if we did something simpler? More about us? But he knew the answer. He'd already tried suggesting they donate part of the wedding budget to charity. Sophia had looked at him like he'd suggested getting married at City Hall. The party continued when Ethan needed to step out to the restroom. Walking down the hallway, he heard voices from the outdoor terrace. He recognized Sophia's laugh. "Britt, stop. Someone might hear," she said between giggles. "No one's coming out here, relax. But tell me, when are you getting full access to his money?" Ethan froze. He stood still just before the slightly open door, hidden by the heavy curtain. 2 more months and it's done." Sophia's voice was excited, almost euphoric. "I'll be Mrs. Blackwell. Then I'll have full access to his fortune. This 10,000 square foot penthouse will be mine. And if it doesn't work out, I've already secured a hefty alimony in the prenup that my lawyer tweaked." Brittany burst out laughing. "You're terrible. And Ethan has no idea." "Idea about what?" "He's too naive. Such a romantic. The type who believes in true love and all that nonsense. Look, he's nice, but let's be real. What attracted me was his bank account. He could have been ugly, and I'd still have gone for him. What if he loses everything? Like, the company goes bankrupt?" There was a pause. "Oh, Britt, stop. What a horrible thought. But if it happened... Look, I don't know. No, I can't even imagine it. I wasn't born to live paycheck to paycheck and ride Uber. You know?" The two laughed. Ethan felt the ground drop out from under him. He returned to the main room on autopilot, greeting people, smiling, toasting. Inside, a volcano was erupting. It wasn't just the pain of betrayal. It was something deeper, more ancient. The memory hit him full force. He was 12 when he came home from school and found his mother packing her bags. His father, Arthur Blackwell, sat on the couch, pale, with papers scattered around him. The family business was on the brink of bankruptcy. "I'm not going down with you, Arthur," his mother had said coldly. "I deserve better. I've already found it. James has 3 companies, and none of them are failing." His father never fully recovered. He rebuilt the business, yes, worked 18 hours a day for years, turning the small firm into an empire. But something in him died that day. Ethan saw it in his father's eyes, a deep sadness that no amount of money could heal. Before dying 5 years ago, Arthur had called Ethan for a talk in the hospital. "Son," he'd whispered, his voice weak, "you'll never know if someone truly loves you until you see how they react when you have nothing left. Your mother, she loved me when I had it all. When I lost it, she left. Learn from my pain. Test people before you trust them with everything. Ethan had promised. But he fell in love with Sophia and forgot the advice. Now, standing in the middle of his $300,000 engagement party, he finally understood his father's bitter wisdom. In the days that followed, Ethan observed Sophia with new eyes. Every gesture took on new meaning. When he suggested dinner at home instead of the Michelin-starred restaurant, she pouted. "Honey, can we at least order delivery? From that fancy sushi place you like?" When they passed a homeless man asking for help, she looked away. "Don't give money, Ethan. They just use it for drugs." When he mentioned a corporate social responsibility project at the company, she yawned. "That's sweet, honey. But don't forget we have to approve the wedding flowers today." And then came the final confirmation. Ethan needed to go to Chicago to handle a company issue. "Honey, can I postpone our Thursday dinner? It's urgent." Sophia exploded. "Again, Ethan? Again you cancel our plans? Do you know how long it took me to get a reservation at that restaurant? You don't value me." "Sophia, it's work. The company that pays for all this." "All this what? You talk like I'm some gold digger." The irony almost made Ethan laugh. That night, he called Frank Campbell, his lawyer and best friend since college. Frank was the only person Ethan trusted completely. "I need your help," Ethan said. "I'm going to do something risky. Very risky." They met at Frank's office at 10 p.m. Ethan told him everything. The conversation he'd overheard, the suspicions, his father's story. "I want to run a test," Ethan concluded. "I want her to think I've lost everything. Company bankrupt, assets frozen, reputation ruined. I want to see if she stays." Frank whisked, "Led low." "Ethan, that's intense. What if it backfires?" "If it backfires, I'll know I was right about her. And I'd rather know now than after we're married." "What if you're wrong? What if she really loves you?" Ethan looked out the window at the city lights. "Then I'll get on my knees and apologize. Tell her the truth." "But Frank, I know what I heard. Deep down, I already know the answer. I just need proof." Frank was silent for a long moment. "Okay, I'll help you, but we'll do it right. Nothing illegal, all documented. If she's really what you think, you'll need that proof." They spent the night planning. The plan was elaborate but feasible. Stage a fake IRS fraud scandal at the company, manipulate some news stories, freeze assets apparently, all with help from trusted partners and favors Frank had with journalists. "How long?" Frank asked. 3 weeks. We'll do it 3 weeks before the wedding. Enough time for her to show who she really is." Ethan started planting seeds. At dinners, he commented worriedly about irregularities that auditors had found, mentioned investigations underway. Sophia listened with polite attention, but her glazed eyes showed total disinterest. "Honey, you're being so paranoid," she said. "Your company is solid. Stop worrying and come look at the shoes I picked for the wedding. $15,000 a pair. But look how gorgeous they are." 2 weeks before the deadline, Frank activated the plan. The bomb exploded on a Monday morning. Ethan woke to 17 missed calls. He turned on the TV, and there it was. IRS fraud scandal could topple Blackwell Tech's billion-dollar empire. The story was perfectly orchestrated. Journalist Frank knew published it with anonymous sources, citing serious irregularities, and an IRS investigation. In reality, it was all fake, but convincing enough. Sophia woke to the TV noise. "What's going on?" she asked sleepily. Then she saw the screen. Her face went through 10 emotions in 3 seconds. "Ethan, what? Is this real?" Ethan had rehearsed this moment. He sat on the bed, head in hands, voice trembling. "I don't know how it happened. The accountant. He did things without me knowing. But I'm legally responsible. Sophia, they're gonna freeze everything. The accounts, the properties, the company. Everything. Could you love someone if everything that person had disappeared overnight?" Sophia froze for 5 full seconds. Then she jumped out of bed like she'd been electrocuted. "What do you mean, everything, Ethan? This can't be happening. This can't be real." "It's real, honey. Very real. Ethan watched every micro-expression on her face. He saw no concern for him, just selfish panic. But the wedding. Ethan, the wedding is in 3 weeks. We've already spent $2 million. My mom is going to freak. My followers? Oh my God, my followers. She didn't ask if he was okay. She didn't offer support. She was just thinking about the fallout for her. Ethan's phone rang. It was Frank following the script. Ethan, the IRS lawyers want an urgent meeting. Doesn't look good, man. Not good at all. In the days that followed, the hoax gained perfect momentum. Fake lawyers showed up at the penthouse with official-looking papers. The media amplified the scandal. Reports talked about a $50 million fraud and possible CEO arrest. The final blow came on a Thursday afternoon. 2 federal marshals, actors hired by Frank, arrived to seal the penthouse. You have 48 hours to vacate, one said sternly. Property frozen by court order. Sophia was on the phone with her mother when they arrived. No, Mom. I don't know what to do. He's ruined. Everything frozen. Mrs. Langford's voice carried through the phone. Sophia Reynolds, you are not marrying a bankrupt man. Not after everything I've invested in this wedding. Cancel it all now. Mom, calm down. Let me think. Ethan watched the scene, heartbroken yet relieved to be uncovering the truth. Frank showed up with the rehearsed solution. I have an apartment in Brooklyn. You can stay there. While you sort this out, it's not luxury, but it's decent. Sophia looked at Frank like he'd offered her a slum. Brooklyn? Frank, I live in the Upper East Side, in a penthouse. It's what we've got, Sophia, Ethan said wearily. We don't have a choice. Frank's apartment was in a middle-class building from the 1980s. 2 bedrooms, 700 square feet, basic finishes. For Ethan, raised humbly before his father truly struck it rich, it was comfortable. For Sophia, it was a nightmare. This place doesn't even have a walk-in closet. Ethan, where am I supposed to put my clothes? She opened the built-in closet, too small for even a tenth of her designer wardrobe. And the bathroom? Oh my God, the bathroom has a plastic shower stall. Plastic, Ethan. Sophia, please. He tried to hug her. She pulled away. Don't touch me right now. I need to think. That night, Sophia slept on the couch. She said she was too stressed to share the bed. The following days revealed a gradual, painful transformation. Sophia stopped posting on social media. When Ethan asked, she replied curtly, "What am I supposed to post? A photo in this dump? My followers will unfollow me." Her friends stopped calling. Brittany, who used to call 3 times a day, vanished completely. Sophia tried to hide it, but Ethan saw. She checked her phone obsessively, waiting for messages that never came. A week into the crisis, Sophia started canceling wedding vendors. "It's for the best, honey," she said, avoiding his eyes. "No point spending on a party now. We'll save money." But Ethan learned through Frank that she was trying to get the deposits refunded to her own account. She'd asked vendors to return the money in her name, not theirs as a couple. "She's trying to secure some cash," Frank explained over the phone. Told the caterer the wedding was traumatic for her and she deserved compensation. Some are considering it. Ethan felt nauseous, not from anger, from profound disappointment. It was on a trip to the grocery store that everything truly changed. Sophia refused to go. "I'm not going to some neighborhood market, Ethan. Order delivery." "We can't afford fancy delivery anymore, Sophia. I need to buy basics." She rolled her eyes. "Then go yourself." The store was 3 blocks away. Ethan, and walked, appreciating the irony of pretending to be broke when he could buy the whole block. At the corner, he saw a simple food cart. A sign, Celia's Homestyle Meals, $12. Behind the counter, a woman about 63, with gray hair in a bun, smiled at every customer. She had calloused hands and kind eyes. "Good morning, dear. First time here." She served a young delivery guy in uniform. "I put extra in yours, you know. I know you work hard." The guy thanked her, touched. You always save my lunch, Mrs. Celia. Ethan watched. There was a lightness to the place. Something genuine. When the line thinned, Mrs. Celia turned to Ethan. And you? Want lunch? I. Ethan eyed the simple menu. How much? $12, hon. Rice, beans, mixed veggies, and salad. Today it's grilled chicken or steak with onions. It was less than Sophia spent on breakfast at her favorite spot. I'll take the chicken to go. As Mrs. Celia packed the meal, Ethan couldn't resist. How long have you had this cart? Oh dear, it'll be 20 years this December. Started after my husband passed. 3 kids to raise on my own, needed income. She smiled proudly. But it was worth it. All 3 went to college. One's an engineer, another's a teacher, and the youngest is finishing computer science. 3 kids through college on food cart meals? Ethan asked, genuinely impressed. With a lot of hard work, dear. Hard work and faith. She handed over the container. Here you go, nice and hot. Ethan paid and was leaving when Mrs. Celia called. Hey, wait. She came back with a fruit. Take this banana too. On the house. You have sad eyes. Good food feeds the soul. Ethan accepted. Moved. Thank you, Mrs. Celia. Anytime you need. Okay? My food ain't fancy, but it's made with love. Walking home, Ethan thought about how a woman making $12 a plate was more generous than his millionaire fiancé. He thought about how Mrs. Celia had raised 3 kids with dignity while Sophia complained about a comfortable apartment. He found Sophia on the phone, whispering. She hung up quickly when she saw him. Who was that? He asked. Nobody. Telemarketer. She looked away. Ethan opened the container, and the smell of home-cooked food filled the apartment. What is that? Sophia wrinkled her nose. Ethan, you bought street food? It's from an honest, hard-working lady. That must be full of germs. Throw it out. I'm eating it, Sophia. I'm hungry. She huffed and went to the bedroom, slamming the door. Ethan ate the meal at the kitchen table. It was delicious, simple but made with care. Every bite had real flavor, dignity, honest work. He thought of Mrs. Celia. He thought of the mother who'd left him for money. He thought of Sophia in the bedroom, probably plotting her own exit. In the days that followed, Ethan returned to Mrs. Celia's cart. At first, for the sake of the ruse, he needed to eat, and Sophia refused to cook. I don't know how to cook, Ethan. We've always had a maid. Then, because he wanted to, Mrs. Celia always greeted him with a smile. How's life treating you, dear? Complicated, Mrs. Celia. Money troubles? Ethan paused. She didn't know who he was? With all the scandal in the papers? You don't watch the news? Dear, I work 12 hours a day. When I get home, I just want to watch my soaps and sleep. She laughed. Why? You famous. I was, Ethan said, surprising himself with his honesty. Had a big company. Lost it all. Mrs. Celia nodded understandingly. I've seen that happen to good folks. Life turns, doesn't it? But dear, can I give you some advice from someone who's lost it all too? Please. Losing money just shows who you really are, and who really has your back. She packed the meal with extra care. When my husband died, a lot of people we thought were friends disappeared. Only the real ones stayed. It hurt bad. But later, I'm grateful, you know? Because I found out who was worth it. Ethan took the meal, touched. Mrs. Celia, you're wise. Nah, dear, just old. She winked. And this one's on me. Take it. I can't. You can. I know what it's like to struggle. When I was at rock bottom, folks helped me. Now it's my turn. Go on, take it. And come back anytime. I like chatting with you. Meanwhile, Sophia sank into her own bitterness. Ethan overheard her on a call in the bathroom. She didn't know he was home. Brittany, I'm freaking out. 3 weeks in this awful place. My nails are a mess. I can't go to my fancy salon. I'm using drugstore shampoo. Britt, drugstore. Brittany's voice was audible. Dump him, sophomore, seriously. You deserve better. I know, but what if he gets it all back? What if it's temporary? What if it's not? You gonna waste your life on a broke guy? Silence. Then, you're right. I need to think about myself. Ethan slipped out quietly. He went back to Mrs. Celia's cart, even though he'd just eaten lunch. Back already, dear? Forget something? No, I just wanted to talk. Mrs. Celia wiped her hands on her apron and sat on a stool. Sit here. Tell Celia all about it. And Ethan did. Not everything, but enough. He talked about the fiancé who changed when the money vanished. About feeling alone even with someone beside him. About the disappointment of realizing he was loved for what he had, not who he was. Mrs. Celia listened in silence. When Ethan finished, she sighed. Dear, let me tell you something. When my husband died, I had 3 kids, a mortgage to pay, and 0 in the bank. You know who helped? Not his rich friends, no. It was old Mr. Jenkins, the popcorn vendor on the corner. He was poorer than me, but he gave me $50. It's all I got, Celia, but take it. You need it more. $50. Seems like nothing now, but that day, it bought food for my kids. She wiped a tear. I learned that a person's worth ain't in their wallet. It's in their heart. And if your girl doesn't want you without money, she never wanted you for real. She wanted your cash. And dear, that ain't love. That's greed. How much of our lives do we waste on people who love what we have, not who we are? 2 weeks passed. Ethan's ruse was working perfectly, too perfectly. Sophia barely spoke to him. They could go days in the same apartment exchanging fewer than 5 words. She lived glued to her phone, whispering conversations she cut off when he approached. She'd go out for walks and return hours later, evasive about where she'd been. Ethan knew, from Frank's discreet monitoring, that she was seeing someone. It's a businessman, Frank revealed on a call. David Harrington owns a chain of upscale gyms, worth about $80 million. Sophia met him at a party 2 months ago. Looks like she started seeing him as soon as you went broke. Ethan should have felt rage, but he just felt a deep emptiness and a growing certainty that he was doing the right thing. It was Mrs. Celia who truly saved Ethan's sanity during those weeks. He started visiting her every day, helping at the cart when it got busy. Dear, you don't have to do this, she'd protest. I want to, Mrs. Celia. It does me good. And it did. There was something therapeutic about serving meals, chatting with workers, hearing simple stories from honest folks grinding through life. Ethan rediscovered something he'd lost in years of luxury. True human connection. One day, a young guy about 25 showed up at the cart. Skinny, glasses, briefcase under his arm. Mom, he called, smiling. Brought those vitamins you asked for. Oh, my boy. Marcus, this is Ethan. He's been helping me out. Ethan, this is my youngest. The computer whiz. Marcus gave a shy laugh. Whiz nothing, Mom. Still job hunting. What do you mean? Ethan asked. Degree and no job? It's tough. Marcus rubbed his neck. Graduated top of my class, but no connections. In interviews, they always pick who they know, nepotism, you know? I've sent out 200 resumes. Mrs. Celia sighed. He's too good, Ethan. Made an app for my cart. Keeps everything organized. But these big companies don't even look at resumes from state schools. Ethan looked at Marcus with new interest. Tell me about this app. Marcus, perking up, showed it. It was impressive. A full management system. Inventory control, orders, even demand forecasting based on history. Simple but efficient. You built this alone? Yeah. Taught myself most of the coding online. College gave the basics, but the rest was self-taught. Ethan smiled. Marcus, when this rough patch in my life ends, come find me. I promise I'll give you a shot. Marcus looked disbelieving. For real. Dead serious. Talent like yours can't go to waste. Mrs. Celia hugged Ethan. You're an angel, dear. A real angel. Meanwhile, things with Sophia reached the breaking point. Ethan came home early on a Thursday and found the scene that would change everything. Sophia was packing suitcases, talking on the phone, her voice animated in a way he hadn't heard in weeks. Yes, babe, almost done. In an hour, I'll be out of this prison. She laughed, happy. No, he suspects nothing. It'll be so easy. I know. You're way better than him in every way. Ethan stood frozen in the doorway. Sophia turned and saw him. Her face went from excited to pale in a second. I'll call you back. She stammered into the phone and hung up. Heavy silence filled the apartment. Going somewhere? Ethan asked, his voice too calm. Ethan, we need to talk. About the suitcases? Or the babe on the phone? Sophia took a deep breath. Ethan saw the transformation. She lifted her chin. Her eyes turned cold. The mask of vulnerability dropped completely. You know what? It's better to just lay it all out. She crossed her arms. I can't take this anymore, Ethan. I wasn't born for this. For living like average. Average? Ethan repeated, looking around the comfortable, clean apartment. To you, having a decent roof and food on the table is average? Compared to what I had? To what I deserve? Yes. She gestured angrily. I'm an influencer, Ethan. My image is my job. How am I supposed to keep my followers posting from a middle-class apartment? How am I going to do sponsored posts for luxury brands if I can't buy luxury anymore? So that's it? Your followers? Your sponsorships? It's my life, my career. You took all that from me. I took it from you? Ethan felt anger rising. Sophia, I went through a crisis. As my fiancée, you should have been by my side. By your side. She laughed bitterly. Ethan, be honest. Without your money, what are you? Just another failed entrepreneur. And I'm not wasting my life on a failure. The words cut. Not because they were true, but because they revealed the truth about her. I see. Ethan kept his voice steady. And the babe on the phone? Who's that? Sophia hesitated only a second. David Harrington. He owns 3 luxury gyms, worth $80 million, and treats me like the queen I am. While you were engaged. To me. Technically, I still am. But not for long. She went to her purse and pulled out an envelope. My lawyer drew this up. Engagement cancellation with a claim for emotional distress and damages. $2 million, Ethan. You humiliated me publicly, destroyed my image, pulled me from my lifestyle. I deserve compensation. Ethan took the papers, incredulous. You're trying to sue me for going broke? For ruining my life. I had to cancel the wedding of the century because of your incompetence. Lost deals, followers, opportunities. Her eyes blazed with real anger. $2 million is peanuts for what I went through. For what you went through. Ethan felt something break inside him. Not love, that was already dead. It was the last illusion that there was something good in her. Sophia, do you have any idea what you're saying? Perfect idea. She pointed at him. And you know what? Your dad was an idiot too. Your mom did the right thing leaving him. No one's obligated to sink with a loser. She had the guts to choose a better life. And so do I. The mention of his father made Ethan's fists clench. He breathed deep, controlling himself. And look at you, Sophia continued cruelly. Repeating Daddy's sad story. Lost everything just like him. Pathetic. At least David is smart enough not to go bust. Done. Almost. She grabbed the suitcases. I'll let my lawyer contact you. About the $2 million and returning the engagement gifts. Technically they're mine since the wedding didn't happen because of you. Ethan smiled. A smile that confused Sophia. Why are you smiling? Because you just gave me exactly what I needed. He pulled out his phone. Sophia, this apartment has been monitored since we moved in. Audio and video. Everything you said in the last 15 minutes was recorded. Her face froze. And before you ask, yes, it's legal. Frank, my lawyer, made sure. You signed a waiver when we moved in, remember? Security clause. It was in the fine print. You set me up? No. I gave you a chance to show who you really are. And you did. Sophia dropped the suitcases. Wait. Ethan, we can talk this out calmly. No. He went to the door and opened it. Frank was outside as planned. Frank. Please explain Sophia's legal situation. Frank entered, briefcase in hand, professional expression. Sophia, good afternoon. I'm Frank Campbell, Ethan's lawyer. I need to inform you of a few things. First, all attempts to reclaim wedding deposits in your name constitute misappropriation of funds. Second, the baseless compensation claim is bad faith litigation. Third, the recorded comments about my client's family, with witnesses, amount to defamation. This is a setup. No, it's the consequences of your choices. Frank opened the briefcase. But there's more. Remember the jewelry Ethan gave you in the last 6 months? Diamond necklace, white gold bracelet, emerald earrings. They were gifts. They're mine. Actually, no. They were loans from Blackwell Tech for brand ambassadorship. You signed a contract, remember? That day you signed a bunch of papers without reading because you were rushing to the salon. Sophia paled. No, it can't. It can, and it's right here. Frank showed the document with her signature. Total value of the pieces, $450,000. We need them all back. Now, I don't have everything here. Then you have 48 hours to return them, or we sue for corporate asset theft. Sophia looked from Frank to Ethan, desperate. Ethan, for God's sake, we can fix this. I was upset, said stupid things. You don't have to do this. What's sadder? Someone loving you only for your money, or discovering it too late? Ethan looked at Sophia with a calm he didn't know he had. Years of pain, the pain of his father, his own pain, the pain of everyone used for gain, crystallized in that moment. Sophia, you had 3 weeks to show me who you really were. 3 weeks when I was vulnerable, broken, needing support. And what did you do? Ethan, You started planning your exit, met another man, tried to siphon money from vendors, complained about everything, never asked if I was okay, never offered real support, never. His voice cracked for a second. Never truly loved me. That's not fair. You lied to me. I tested you, and you failed. Ethan went to the window. Outside, life went on normal. People heading home from work, kids playing, Mrs. Celia closing her cart. But you know what's sadder? I discovered something in these 3 weeks. What? She asked, voice small. That there are good people in the world. People worth keeping. I met a lady who sells meals for $12 and has more dignity than you'll ever have. She gave me food for free when she thought I needed it. $12 is a lot to her. But she offered. Ethan, you, with millions at your disposal, offered nothing. Not even a sincere hug. Not a real word of comfort. Just complaints and escape plans. Frank cleared his throat. Ethan, sorry to interrupt, but there's something you need to know. The results from the private investigation you requested came in. Investigation? Sophia's eyes widened. What investigation? Frank opened another document. On David Harrington. Ethan had me look into him as soon as we got the name. He looked at Sophia with something like pity. Sophia, David's married, has a wife and 2 kids, and you're not his first girlfriend. He has 3 others he keeps in separate condos. Sophia's world visibly crumbled. No, he said he was single. He lies to all of them, and when he gets bored, he discards and finds another. Frank showed photos. Here, him with his wife last week. Here, with another mistress the day before yesterday. Sophia, you were just another one. And by his pattern, he'd have dumped you in about 3 months. Sophia sank onto the couch, destroyed. It can't be. Ethan felt something odd. Not revenge pleasure. Just sadness. Sadness that she was so empty she'd fall for the same traps every time. Sophia, he said gentler, you need help. Real help. Therapy, self-reflection, something. Because this obsession with money and status will destroy you. You don't understand, she whispered. You're right. I don't. My father rebuilt his life after losing everything. Mrs. Celia raised 3 kids selling meals from a cart. People overcome hardship every day with dignity. But you? You can't even handle 3 weeks in a comfortable apartment. Frank packed the documents. Ethan, want me to wrap this up? Yes, please. Frank turned to Sophia, professional again. You have 2 options. Option 1. Return all the jewelry, sign the engagement cancellation agreement with no compensation claims, and we end this quietly. Option 2. Don't cooperate and I go to the press with everything. The recordings, documents, the full story. And Sophia, once the internet knows who you really are, your 2 million followers will vanish fast. That's blackmail. That's justice. Frank set the papers on the table. You tried to weaponize the law against Ethan in bad faith. Now the law turns on you. Choose. Sophia looked at the papers, then Ethan, then Frank. Ethan saw the moment she realized. She'd lost. Completely. I'll return the jewelry, she said, voice broken. Good. And David? I already ended it. She wiped a tear. Maybe it was real. When I found out, he blocked my number. Frank nodded. And the vendors? The money you tried to grab? I'll return it. All of it. Perfect. Frank pulled out another document. Sign here. Amicable engagement cancellation. No claims from either side, with a mutual non-disparagement clause. Sophia signed with a trembling hand. When she finished, she looked at Ethan one last time. You really never lost anything, huh? It was all a lie. It was. Why? Why do this to me? Ethan thought. He could be cruel. List all the reasons, all the proof she was shallow. But he was tired. Because my father died broken inside after my mother left him for money. Because I needed to know if you were different from her. And because I deserved the truth before marriage. What if I'd stayed? If I'd supported you? Ethan almost laughed. Then I'd be on my knees apologizing and explaining everything right now. But you didn't stay, Sophia. You did exactly what I feared. She picked up the suitcases, defeated. At the door, she paused. Just so you know, I did love you, at the beginning, before I got lost in all of it. Maybe, but not enough. Sophia left. Frank closed the door behind her. Silence filled the apartment. Ethan sat on the couch, emotionally exhausted. You okay? Frank asked. I don't know. I should be happy, feel victorious, but I just feel empty. It's normal. You loved her. I loved the idea of her, the person I thought she was. Ethan rubbed his face. Frank, how did I not see it? How did I spend 3 years with her and not realize? Because you wanted to believe, and she was good at pretending. Frank sat beside his friend. But Ethan, you found out. Before marriage, before kids, before fully intertwining your lives. That matters. My dad didn't get that chance. Your dad gave you a valuable lesson. He paid the price so you wouldn't have to. Ethan nodded, emotional. What do I do now? Now? Now you get back to being you. Rich, successful, but wiser. And most important, you live. Without regrets. Without doubts about who's by your side. And Mrs. Celia? And Marcus? Frank smiled. That's where you surprised me. We planned this test to unmask Sophia, but you went out and made real friends along the way. Real friends, Ethan corrected. Mrs. Celia has more wisdom in her pinky than I got from all my fancy education. And Marcus, Frank, he's brilliant. I'm hiring him for real. So the test taught you more than you expected? It taught me I was living wrong, surrounded by fakes in shallow relationships, valuing the wrong things. Ethan stood. That ends today. The whole ruse, yes. But my way of living too. What are you gonna do? First, I'm going to Mrs. Celia's cart tomorrow and telling her the truth. The whole truth. She'll be mad. I don't know. But she deserves honesty. Ethan went to the window. Down below, he saw Mrs. Celia packing up, closing her cart alone. And Frank, I want to start a foundation. For real. To help entrepreneurs like her. And a talent program to hire folks like Marcus. Ethan Blackwell turning philanthropist? Ethan Blackwell remembering where he came from. And honoring the father who worked his whole life to give me opportunities. He turned to his friend. My dad built an empire but died alone and bitter. I have an empire too, but I won't die like him. I'll use this money to make a real difference. Frank hugged his friend. Your dad would be proud. That night, alone in the apartment, Ethan couldn't sleep. He grabbed his phone and opened Sophia's social media. She'd block him soon, but for now, it was all there. Her last post was from 2 days ago. An old photo from the early days of their relationship, captioned, "Missing simpler times." The comments were brutal. Where's the rich fiancé? He dumped you, right? Serves you right for being a gold digger. Lost your sugar daddy, lol. Ethan closed the app. He felt no joy in her downfall, just closure. He thought about calling Mrs. Celia, but it was late. Tomorrow he'd tell her everything and hoped she'd understand. For the first time in 3 weeks, Ethan slept peacefully. Not because he'd won, but because he finally knew he'd made the right call. And somewhere he felt his father rested in peace too. The lesson was learned, the cycle broken. How many people in our lives love who we are, and how many love only what we have? The morning sun lit up Mrs. Celia's cart when Ethan arrived. She was prepping the first meals of the day, humming softly. Good morning, dear. Early today. Huh. Morning, Mrs. Celia. Can I talk to you? Something in his tone made her stop. Of course, hon. Sit here. Coffee? Please. She poured 2 simple coffees into aluminum mugs. They sat on the cart stools. Ethan took a deep breath. Mrs. Celia, I need to tell you something, and you might get really mad at me. I doubt it, dear, but go on. I'll just provide the funding and support. Mrs. Celia was quiet for a long moment. Dear, you serious? Dead serious. I already talked to my lawyer. We can start tomorrow if you want. She wiped tears. You know what's funny? I always dreamed of this. Always. But never had the capital. And now you. She laughed and cried at once. You're a blessing, Ethan. A true blessing. You're the blessing, Mrs. Celia. You taught me more in 3 weeks than most people in years. 2 hours later, Ethan was at the Blackwell Tech office. All employees knew the scandal was resolved. The official story was it was an IRS misunderstanding, now cleared. Marcus, Mrs. Celia's son, arrived for the interview nervous, resume printed on plain paper. Mr. Blackwell, I don't even know what to say. My mom called crying, told me everything, and... Marcus, relax. Sit. Ethan pointed to a chair. First, show me that app you made for your mom again. For 20 minutes, Marcus demoed the system. Ethan called in the CTO to watch too. This is excellent, the CTO commented, impressed. Clean architecture, efficient. You did it solo? Yes, sir. Ethan and the CTO exchanged looks. Marcus, here's my offer. 3 months as a junior developer, starting at $80,000 a year with a shot at full-time if you shine. Deal? Marcus paled. 80,000? Plus benefits. Health insurance, meal vouchers, all of it. Yes, of course. When do I start? Monday, but one condition. Anything. Keep developing your mom's cart system on your off hours. It'll be the pilot for a bigger project I'm planning. Marcus was nearly crying. Mr. Blackwell, my mom won't stop saying you're an angel. Now I get why. I'm no angel, Marcus. Just someone who finally realized talent doesn't care about social class. There are brilliant people everywhere. They just need a chance. In the weeks that followed, the transformation was complete. Ethan publicly announced the Blackwell Foundation for Entrepreneurship Support with an initial $10 million investment. The first project, expanding Mrs. Celia's business. The media, which had covered the scandal, now praised the initiative. But Ethan didn't care about the media. He cared about the faces when they opened the first Celia's Comfort Kitchen, an affordable spot with quality meals for $15 a plate. Mrs. Celia, in a new uniform but with the same smile, served the first customer in tears of joy. Never imagined it, dear. Never. Imagine it now, Mrs. Celia, because we'll have 20 locations in 2 years. Marcus was made full-time after a month-and-a-half record time. He proved not just good, but exceptional. He built a system that saved the company $300,000 a year. That kid's gold, the CTO told Ethan. Where'd you find him? At a food cart, while I was pretending to be broke. 3 months after the engagement ended, Ethan was at a business ethics conference when he met her. Emily Harper, a public school literature teacher, raised her hand during Q&A. Mr. Blackwell, your story about testing people. Don't you think that's problematic? Kind of manipulative? Ethan liked the question, liked her boldness. Great point. Yes, it was manipulation. But how else would I uncover the truth? By real wealth, he told her after 3 dates. She laughed. Seriously? Like, actual billionaire? Yeah. Ha. Cool. That's it? Cool. It doesn't change anything for me. Emily sipped her soda. You're nice, smart, funny. That's what matters. The money's, I dunno, a footnote in your bio. Ethan knew in that moment he'd found something rare. Someone who saw him. Not his bank account, not his status. Him. A year after the Sophia breakup, Ethan and Emily got married. The ceremony was in a simple garden, 50 guests, under $100,000 total. Mrs. Celia was matron of honor. This one's a keeper, dear. She has light in her eyes. Marcus was best man. Never thought I'd be best man to my boss. But here we are. Frank gave the toast, emotional. I met Ethan when he had everything but was unhappy. Today he has everything and is happy. Because he finally has the right people by his side. Emily, at the altar, whispered to Ethan, You sure you want to marry a public school teacher making $40,000 a year? Never been surer of anything. Even if I never quit working, because I love teaching. I'm not quitting. I don't want you to. I want you to be you. Always. 6 months after the wedding, Ethan was in his office when Frank walked in with news. Sophia sent a letter. What? Ethan hadn't thought of her in ages. Let me see. The letter was short, handwritten. Ethan, I know I have no right to write you. I know I hurt you deeply and don't deserve forgiveness. But I need to say you were right. I've spent this year in therapy, working in digital marketing at a mid-sized firm, rebuilding from scratch. Lost the followers, the sponsorships, the luxury life. And you know what I found? I was empty. Completely empty. My therapist helped me see I'd never built my own identity. I was always the rich daughter, then the rich girlfriend, then the influencer. Never just Sophia. Never figured out who I was without money and status. Now I'm figuring it out. And it hurts. But it's necessary. I'm not asking forgiveness. Don't deserve it. Just saying thank you for showing me who I was before it was too late. Before I ruined my life and others. I heard you got married. To a teacher, they say. I hope you're happy. You deserve it. Respectfully, Sophia. Ethan, read it T. Weiss. Emily, visiting the office, read over his shoulder. You gonna reply? She asked. Not sure. Should I? I think. Yeah, doesn't have to be long. But she had the guts to apologize. Deserves acknowledgement. Ethan thought. Then he typed on his computer, printed, and signed. Sophia, got your letter. I accept your apology and wish you luck on your self-discovery journey. You were right, I set a trap. It was manipulative and, yes, morally gray. I learned testing people isn't the answer. Trusting the right ones from the start is. Hope you find your peace. And someone who loves you for real when you're ready to be loved. And to love back. Ethan. He mailed it and never heard from her again. But he was at peace. 5 years later, Celia's Comfort Kitchen had 23 locations. Mrs. Celia, at 68, was proud and active CEO. Marcus was CTO at Blackwell Tech, making $150,000 a year. Ethan and Emily had 2 kids. She kept teaching, now at a well-funded public school, after Ethan anonymously made a generous donation. The Blackwell Foundation had helped 500 entrepreneurs start businesses. Success rate, 73%, way above the national average. One night, Ethan was tucking the kids in when the older one, 4 years old, asked, Dad, are we rich? Ethan looked at Emily, who smiled. We are, buddy. Then why does Mom work? Can't you support her? I could, but your mom works because she loves it, and I admire that about her. The boy thought, when I grow up, I want to be rich too, but I want to work like Mom, doing what I love. Ethan hugged his son, moved. You already get life's biggest lesson, champ. Money isn't happiness. Doing what you love with who you love. That's it. That night, in bed, Emily asked, do you regret it? The whole test, the elaborate plan. Ethan thought, I regret needing to do it, but not doing it, because it saved me from the wrong person and led me to the right one. To you. Romantic. She kissed him. But if you ever try testing me, I'll kill you. He laughed. No need to test. I know who you are. How? Because you stuck with me when I was just a guy giving a talk. You didn't know about the money. And when you did, it changed nothing. He held her. People like you don't need tests. The realness is obvious. People like Mrs. C